Okay, so we got this thing purring like a kitten now. She's idling, she's running wide open, and we're gonna go give it a test now that we've messed with the cylinder and dug all the dirt out and everything. So, getting the tanks filled. We got 2 IBC totes, 2 275-gallon IBC totes, and one's about 3/4 full there. You can see I got to fill the other one, but it is super windy out there. So what I'm going to do is basically tell you about my project, because I'm probably not going to be able to talk out there once we get out there in the wind. So what I'm going to do is we're going to empty one tank with a 2-inch hose, but I'm just going to kind of kink it over like this to get sort of a spray pattern to spray an area of dirt, and hopefully we'll get good water coverage with that. But the second tank, I want to hook up the fire hose nozzle and see if we can get basically as good a spread with that. I think it's going to last longer with the fire hose nozzle just because it's going to restrict flow much more than just kinking the hose over like you would a water hose. So we're going to compare the two, just see how long each tank lasts, and that'll give me a good idea of what I might want to do for the future if I ever have to fight a fire with it. Let's give it a pull. Okay, choke's off already. Let's go ahead and ramp the throttle up. About 25 feet isn't very far, is it? But it's soaking the road. Okay, there it goes. Turn the ignition on here. Fuel's on. Go ahead and put the choke on. About third throttle. Choke off. Here it goes. That's full spray. also trying to get out of the wind by the truck here. It did a good job. That's 500 something gallons. You know, those totes aren't quite empty, so there's a little bit left in the bottom. I bet there's, you know, 50 gallons in the bottom total. So, you know, it did a good job though. It spread that water really well. It was probably too much water for what I wanted to do, just to kind of settle the dust. And but you know, that water hopefully will soak in and not all just blow away and evaporate quickly because of the high wind, but hopefully it'll soak in and be able to drive on it some more, get it compacted down. Now it's becoming very obvious where I need to work. Like I need to work, that's a high spot, there's a low spot there, there's a high spot there, there's a low spot there. And so I'm going to work on cutting these high spots down, fill in these low spots like there and there on this side. There's some on the other side as well, and then start working a crown back in. Once I get that pretty satisfactory, then we'll go ahead and pour road base on it, soak it down again, and then just start driving on it and compacting it. Good. Okay. 18 inches down, this is before. Tank's pretty low. Okay, I'm as ready as I'm gonna be. See the water coming up? Is that wide open? Go ahead. See if it'll do it. Woo! Okay, that's pretty awesome. That was just a couple of minutes, I think, but it's pretty dang full. And now these tanks are connected. That one's connected to that one, so it will cross feed slowly. But yeah, nice. Okay, so Em, you just got to really hold on to it is all, because it bucks and kicks and. So easy, even a novice fireman can do it. I think that's how it goes. Okay, I guess if we were to pretend that the fire was coming from the southwest and we were trying to just soak these trees down and these beds here so that when these bushes caught on fire, that we could at least maybe save the trees. So we'll just practice with a little bit of water. We have a half tank of water. It'll probably empty pretty quick, but we're going to soak these trees down here and it'll water them. It's spring, it needs some water. Okay, so starting procedure is what?
On.
4 things.
On. On.
Switch is on? Okay, that's right, we ran out of gas.
Right.
So, yep, and you got the fuel on?
Fuel on.
Choke on?
Choke on. On. And all the way to idle.
And then 1/3 above idle. Yeah, that's a good starting point.
Okay.
Okay.
Don't point it at your face. Pro tip.
Choke off, perfect. And idle it up. I can idle it up for if you want. Ready? Here goes. How far will it spray? Yeah, it does. It's not blowing super bad right now, but so yeah, you're doing exactly what I think I would do. I'd soak down the wood chips and soak down around the trees just to try to protect the trees. We have a pretty good barrier between here and the house that nothing's going to burn, so we really just have to defend from embers and firebrands coming across here to the house from the southwest, because most likely that's where it's going to come from. These firefighters that have, I don't know how big the hoses are, and they're full of water and they're dragging 150 feet of it, they got to be super, super strong.
It's heavy.
Oh, it's ridiculously heavy. We were doing standbys for firefighter training one day, and I tried to pick up a charged hose. I think it was only a 3-inch, and carry it and drag it like these guys were. I couldn't move it, and I'm not weak, you know. I'm not shaped like those guys are, though. Man, that's a different level. And girls, I should say. Dang, they're strong. Okay, perfect. So we had enough water in the tank. We ran it dry. We ran the fuel dry. We didn't run the pump dry. So a little bit of water left in the tank right there, but there was still water in the pump, so that's good. So now we're going to turn the throttle back to 0. The fuel we're going to leave off. The choke will leave on run, and the switch will turn off. Okay, now the carburetor bowl is nice and empty. This is better than draining the carburetor bowl, because you just drain the carburetor bowl. It might leave gasoline in the jets, but when you run the engine and you run it dry, that's the engine pump. The piston is literally a pump pulling gasoline through and trying to pull gasoline through the carburetor. So it's going to not just empty it, but it's going to pull that residual gasoline through and hopefully clean it out better than just draining it. Okay, good. So we're going to take this off, and then we're going to drain the pump with this little thing right here. Let that run out. Sitting on the top here. I'm just going to open it and drain it. Then we're going to tip it up just to make sure the water's out of the bottom of the pump. Good. Okay guys, the pump did really well, and we ran 1,000 gallons through it. So, you know, we're going to drain the oil now and just change it just to make sure if there's any little bit of trash in there, that we're going to get it out, or if there's any water. And then we're going to look inside the top of the spark plug hole. So we're going to pull the spark plug out and use the inspection camera to look down inside. Maybe we can see something, maybe we can't. We'll look around though, see what we can see. Okay, now while that's draining, we're going to pull the spark plug. Okay. Spark plug looks nice and dry. Okay, I got this Q-tip here. We're just going to put it in here. Now I can hit the side of the cylinder wall and slide it down until I hit the top of the piston. So I know I'm down in that corner where any gunk or trash or whatever would collect. We can work this around a little bit back and forth on each side. And let's see. Well, it just looks like a little carbon, maybe, kind of like it's on a spark plug. But it's definitely not wet, it's dry, so that's good. Okay, we're just using this Syntec Harbor Freight inspection camera. Okay, so I just stuck the Q-tip in and ran it around the top of the piston, and try to orient this a little bit, but we're looking at the top of the piston there, and you can see that it's made some kind of tracks in this little coating that's on top of there. I don't think it's water because it looks more like oil on the end of the Q-tip when I pull the Q-tip out. So, but you can see all the little tracks that the Q-tip's made. And so it looks like oil's getting past the piston ring, and it's getting up onto the top of the cylinder, and which is not surprising, obviously, because it had dirt in it, right? It had mud in it. So that's scored the cylinder walls and the piston ring. This pump may keep running for a long time. Who knows? But that's not a good sign for its longevity or its compression. Although it seemed to run just fine and made good compression and pumped the water like crazy. So it's done a good job, but how long it'll last, I guess, is anybody's guess now.